Hello, everybody. My name is Emily Johnson, and I am going to be walking you through DeltaMath today as my EdTech tool for our EDU 563 class. So first of all, I just kind of want to dive into what DeltaMath is. It's an online website that allows you to create specifically, obviously, math problems, but you can do it through assignments, you can do it through tests, you can create a bunch of different resources that then you can kind of organize into different classes, and there's a lot of cool ways to organize the material that then you create. It also allows you to track the student progress. So you can see what questions they've been given, how they've answered, how many questions they've answered. So it does a lot of good progress monitoring. And it supports grades 6 through 12. So good for our older level students, and nice for me in the resource setting because I'm able to give practice problems to grade levels that maybe students aren't, like if they're in ninth grade, maybe they're not actually at a ninth grade math level. And so I can either give them lower or higher ones just depending on the situation. And you can search it by grade, and you can search it by Common Core standards. You can search it just by like key terms, addition, subtraction, PEMDAS, order of operations, just various things. It's very searchable in order to create skills that you're adding to a website. How I have used DeltaMath in my classroom, I've created practice problems. I've created review for retake. So in order for students to retake a summative assessment, they've had to complete, X amount of problems and completed them correctly before I give them that retake. It shows me that they've worked and they've learned from whatever was happening before. And then I also use it to create assignments for when I'm absent. You can just create practice problems and it allows them to walk through it. The way it benefits student learning, it's unlimited practice. So I can assign a skill and a minimum amount of questions they have to answer, but they don't have to stop at just like the 5 or 10 I assign. They can keep going if they feel like they're still kind of struggling with it. And it also gives them instant feedback. So if they get it wrong, it kind of shows them what happened and what they need to still work on, or they can ask for help as they're going through it to get some support on how to answer it, or maybe what they're looking for if the students aren't quite sure, if it's maybe more of a new skill they're working on. And it gives them those guided steps. So if they get it wrong, it walks them through the best way to do it. And that's on all platforms. Like this is what I'm talking about is the basic free version, but you can pay. I don't. But in the paid versions, they also have video tutorials that you can walk through, where it walks through the steps and how to solve them. How I use it as a teacher, again, I can organize it by class. I can select skills for like whatever summative area I'm working on. And then I can even then divvy it up by, maybe students who need simpler problems versus students who can go into more advanced problems, and I can assign them specific worksheets or assignments on there that I've created. And then it provides, again, like I said, that practice space before retake, so allowing them a chance to go again before they do it, and that real-time tracking, so they can also see it, and so can I. I can share in terms of communication, it's actually really quite simple. I go in, I create a class, and I'll kind of walk through that in a little bit, but then I can just share a login code through like a QR or, various ways, and they can go in and they can create their account. Now, what they can do too is that account can move with them. So like my students who are in my resource math, but are maybe moving into a co-taught algebra, they can still use that DeltaMath with another teacher, which is really nice. They don't have to create a new account every single time. Just like I have real access to their progress, so do they. So they can see, if I have to get 10 problems right, well, shoot, I've only gotten 6 and I'm still struggling. Maybe I need to ask for additional support. Or, it gives them kind of I don't know how to explain. It just gives them a really good idea of where they're achieving, And so I have the ability to access and share that information with parents or other adults, various ways. So like maybe I could use it and create specific assignments in my co-taught class for maybe some of my students who receive special services, and then share that information with my co-teacher. Okay, so that's my slides. Now I'm going to show you through the FAQ page on DeltaMath, And then I'm going to show you through the teacher perspective and the student perspective so you can kind of see everything. The FAQ is just really beneficial because it has a lot of information. So it shows what grades they support that you can print, but again, that's on the paid version. And so everything I do is just all digital. So I can see students' information, and I have access to all of those 6 through 12 grade levels. There's no limit to assignments, which is huge. I can create as many as I want. Like I said, that becomes really beneficial if I'm creating assignments based on success level. So if I need some easier ones or some more advanced ones, I have the ability to do that without worrying about creating too many assignments. We can share our tests and assignments, which is cool. And then it just has some other helpful information. So I just wanted to share some of that for you. Now I'm going to switch really quick over to my teacher perspective, and I've got it. Hopefully it's short. Good. So this is what kind of it looks like. I'm going to show you a cool feature, but I didn't want you to see my students' information from last year. So now that I'm done with this last year, that's what this first period is for. I can go in. These are those class codes I was telling you about where you can just copy it and then send it out however you want to. But what I can do is I can go in and I can hit archive. And it allows you to pick a term or create a new class with the same students. I can see that being beneficial if I'm going from semester to semester. But for now, what I'm going to do is pick this for last school year. And all I can do is hit archive. And it's stored in that kind of category. So I can go back and see what I was creating the year before, all of that information. And now, since it's just my information here, I'll pull this open so you can kind of see the full page. So this is the class that I created on my end, just so we can kind of see what this looks like from both the teacher and the student perspective. And then this is just me in that class. But if it was more than just me, also sorry, my dog is chewing a toy beneath me, so you may end up hearing that. But if it was more than just me, it would list everybody and the login email that they used, which can become really beneficial if you've worked with any students ever. They never remember. So one of the cool things you can do, like it's really simple, just create a new class. You come up with a name, you hit confirm add, and then it'll show you right away the class code that you can send out, and you can see it'll actively update with how many students have used that code to align in your class. And so I did it by periods last year because sometimes there are different needs based on that. I don't know if I will adjust that this year and maybe do kind of like I was saying, like an easy, medium, hard with more appropriate language, but just different. Instead of doing it by class period, doing it by skill level, and I can move students as I see fit, kind of within there. So that would be how you would add a new class. And then it's really easy up here. You go up here, you can do create a standard assignment. And then over here, I have them all selected. You don't have to, but it was nice for me to just kind of see what my options were. But it's color coded, so all of these 6s that aligns to the grade level. And these are open for the one I created earlier. But it goes all the way up into geometry, algebra 2, and even pre-calculus. So it has a ton of different options. And what I can do is I'm going to walk you through the process, but not actually create it. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to select my EDU 563, and I can change it to post. I could do a specific time. I always just do immediately. And then I can go over here and do skills. And so now I can pick anything I want. I could do plotting points at grade 7. And what I can do before I do it, if I just want to look and see, I can click on the underline versions where I can go identifying points level 2. So I have to see, it says state the coordinate points. Okay, so I'm at 0, 2 over 0. Nope, I lied. 2, 0. Submit answer. Ask me if I'm sure every single time. And now this is just me seeing what kind of questions the students are going to get asked. I hit yes. Gives me my green check. Okay. And I can say, great, these are the kind of problems I want to use. I can go back and then I can hit that little plus button and you'll see that it shows here. Then I can pick how many I'm going to require them to do. And if they get penalized, I don't love doing penalties. I just want them to go until they get those 5 or maybe 5 right, or we've got the option to show example. You can weight it. You can determine how many attempts you get, which is really cool. So everything is super personalized. And then you can go over here and say I am doing it when I'm absent. Like as a part of a sub plan, I can say I'm going to be gone on Monday. I want everyone to have theirs in by the end of the day at 2:15. And then that's it. And then I can go ahead and create assignment or save my progress. I've done both before. It kind of creates a draft. You can come back in and add it. So that is a lot of the features that I use personally. There are other ways you can kind of look into the options here. You can do a test. You can edit the assignments. You can view the assignments. Right now I just have my example assignment, which you'll see what it looks like in a second when I switch back over to my student perspective. So this is kind of the teacher side, really cool. And then if I go back over here, this is the FAQ, but I've signed in already. So this is what it looks like for me. It has my teacher name, which is going to be really confusing because I'm both the teacher and the student. But this is Miss Johnson's class. And then this is the section that I've created. So my students last year would have seen first period, second period, or like independent practice, depending on, what they were doing. And then I go in, I just updated it. And now I've got that example assignment I created. I can click on it. And it shows me the skills that I need to do. And there's that plotting points. Again, this one was an easier example. I think this was like a grade 6 versus a grade 7 than the ones you're looking at. You can go up here. You plot your point. You can hit submit answer. Again, like I said, always verifies. You hit yes. Correct. And up here, that's where that tracking is. Okay. And I did put a penalty on this one, but that was just me kind of doing that. But after you're done, it shows you how to do it. I missed part of the bottom, but it went over. There it is. And then it's going to go up. So it shows the students how to get that answer. I'm going to do one wrong just so we can see what that process will look like. So next problem. So let's say I got my X and my Y confused like I did earlier. And let's say I go up 9 over 0 instead of flipping that. Submit answer. I'm going to say yes. Okay, now it tells me it's not correct. Find your mistake. I've got 1 attempt remaining. I'm not going to fix it just so we can see what it shows us. Okay, move right 9 units. It gives me the examples, and then once again, it shows me how to do it correctly, and shows me why down here. Obviously, I did the same one, so those examples are the same. But it walks me through what I did incorrectly, which can be really helpful for some of our students. So that's what it looks like for me to do an assignment. And if I had more than one, or sometimes I don't require them. Sometimes if they are doing practice problems just as a way to make up their tests, not everybody wants to do a retake. And so it's nice to have the option, but I don't make it required. Like this one has a due date. They won't always have a due date. So, yeah, that's kind of it. It also has a calculator on there. I'm going to encourage my students to figure out how to use the calculators they see in the classroom and that they'll be using on a test. That way they know just like the similarities and consistency. But yeah, that's DeltaMath. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to kind of dive into it more if anyone does, but I think it's a really amazing tool. And like I said, all of this is available on the free version. Like it's huge. It's crazy. We used to use iExcel last year, and it's so expensive we can't do it anymore. But this I feel like is also just like such a great opportunity for the students to use and learn.